What's up guys, Cwesolo here, and today we are back for another video on Unreal Engine. So last time around we covered the level blueprint, how it works, things you can do with it, stuff like that. This time around we are going to be covering the basics of blueprint classes. So let's get into it. So to create a blueprint class, you can realistically do this in one of two ways. If there's an object that is already in your level scene, like an asset or something that you want to play around with, you can click it, and you can add a blueprint or a script. In this case, you would be adding a blueprint class. And you can go ahead and create the thing from this section. We're not going to do that here, but if you wanted to do that, you totally could. Same thing, if I wanted to add a blueprint to the player script, you can do that here. And you could add a new subclass, a child actor, harvest components, or whatever. And you can do all these things from this menu. If you wanted to just create a new version of this, you'd create a subclass, obviously. But we're not going to be doing any of that. We're not going to be modifying anything in our scene. We're going to just be creating just a straight blueprint. So that's what we're going to do. Our existence cube that we made in the first tutorial, this thing that pops in and out of existence, this cube here, that doesn't also have collision. Yes, this is a blueprint class. We're making it pop in and out of visibility here. It has no collision on it either. It just kind of exists, as you can see. So yeah, it's pretty simple, but either way, we're gonna just make a completely new thing. So to make a blueprint class, you right click on your content browser and you click blueprint class, and you're gonna get this giant, you're gonna not get a giant menu, but you're gonna get a menu of a couple options that you can have. Typically, if you are going to be making like an actor, so for example, if you wanted to make a light that could turn on and off, that would be an actor. These are things that can be placed within the world. Pawns are things that can be possessed and receive input from a controller, so like an enemy AI would be like a pawn, or maybe a player could be a pawn, right, if depending on the object. And then you have characters, which is a type of pawn that is able to walk around, so like third-person character blueprint, the first-person character blueprint, in the two in the demo scenes that not the demo scenes, but the project templates that Unreal has. Those are examples of characters, right? And then you have the player controller, which is a player controller is an actor responsible for controlling the pawn used by the player, which typically would be like a character, right? You have game mode base, which identifies the game mode being plays, its rules and stuff like that. It kind of has it all set here. If you were making an entirely new game mode, for example, you wanted a quote-unquote game mode for your main menu, so that we have mouse input and stuff like that, that would be something that you would do there. You have actor components, which are these nice little components that can be used to add to an actor. So for example, if you have many different types of enemies in the game, right, and you want them to be able to destroy the player, right? You want the player to just stop existing. You just want it to just not exist anymore until garbage collection, right? You could add that onto many different things and making your scripting easier instead of having to rescript these things over and over and over again. And then you have scene components, which are really the same thing as the actor component, but specifically for a scene, right? And then there are more classes in here if you are looking for something specific, like for example a button, right? You can create a button class, or like the player start, like how I showed earlier, you can create a player start, and you can go ahead and change these things, right? But we're not going to worry about those, but those are the different things that you can make with a blueprint class. We're going to just be making an actor. It's something that we want to be able to place in the world, so that's what we're going to do. So we're going to go ahead and create a new blueprint actor, and we're going to make a light that you can turn on and off by walking into this nice little trigger box, right? I think it's very simple, and it should do the trick, right? So let's go ahead and do it. We'll put toggle light. Make sure you don't use spaces in your names. Toggle light, that's what we're going to name it. We're going to compile and save this real quick, and then we're going to add a component. We're going to add a point light, right? We have this nice little point light here. This will light up, and I think we should give it a lamp base, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and attach this. In the first tutorial of Unity, or Unreal Engine Basics, not Unity, this is not Unity, this is Unreal Engine. In Unreal Engine Basics, I mentioned that these, I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but these are kind of like tabs like in Google Chrome, and you could plop them up at the top, and you could switch between them. It's pretty cool. We're going to go ahead and pin that up at the top real quick. and we're going to go grab our, go through the starter content. We're going to go to the props, and we're going to find a nice little lamp. This is a ceiling lamp, but I think what we're going to do is we're going to flip it around and make it like a house lamp. So that's what we're going to do here. So that's what we'll do. All right, so we're going to go ahead and take this off real quick, and we're going to just go ahead and kind of plop this in here like so. And we're going to put this back up at the top. Okay, so we're going to rotate this around. So just like how in the normal controls of the scene controls, you have the very same controls here in the blueprint class. You can go ahead and rotate 180 degrees. We're going to move the light up into, and I want the light to be a child of the ceiling. So that's what I want it to be. We're going to click on the light. We're going to move it up using the little arrows here. We're going to move it up on in. You want to make it so it's not peering through the bottom here and lighting the bottom. You want it to just light the top of the lamp like so. WASD will move you around just like in the scene view from before. And yeah. All right. So this screen's probably looking a little complicated, but don't be that confused, because a lot of this information is the same information that you would have if you had clicked on an object out here. It's the very same details panel that's right here that I covered in the first Unreal Engine Basics video. If you haven't checked that out and you're new to Unreal Engine, you should go check that out. I gave a basic overview of the interface of Unreal Engine. Okay, I'll probably be making another refresh version of that for Unreal Engine 5 when that drops. And just shameless plug, if you want to go check out the Unreal Engine 5 preview, I did a first look video checking it out. You should go check that out. Here's a card in the top right hand corner. Go check that out. You'll like it, I assure you. Anyway, so this is just the very same details panel that was on the other page. So I'm going to make this stationary. We can make it static, but since this object is going to be turning on and off, and basically some basics with lighting. Static is fully based, fastest rendering. It's the static light can't be changed in game, so it's either on or off. Really, you might have some performance issues if it's turning on and off while it's when it's static, right? You have stationary, which is a light that can be turned on and off, but it can't move. So you can change the color and intensity in the game, and movable is 100% movable. So we're going to make each of these things. So this is, we're going to go ahead and make this stationary as well, because of the fact that the light will be turning on and off, right? And the default scene route, we're going to go ahead and make this, really doesn't matter, but I'm going to make it stationary as well. So here we have our light, right? And we're going to go ahead and zero these things out. We'll make this negative 130, just zero these things out, turn that to 0, and there we go. On the point light, it is stationary. Make sure each of your objects are stationary and your view here. All right, so now we're going to add a script to this thing, and we're also going to want to add a trigger box too, because we want to be able to interact with this object, right? And we're going to need a box to work as not an actual box, but a collision box that it'll detect when the player is within it, so that way we can control this light, right? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to get a box collision, right? This is what this is. And this is what it looks like. We're going to go ahead and kind of move this up here a little bit. We want it to kind of be on the ground, but not on the ground, you know? We don't want it to be within the ground. And we're going to go ahead and expand the width and the height of this thing, right? And we're going to go ahead and make this 100. We'll make this 100. And we'll go ahead and make this like 300 or 100, whatever. That should be big enough, and we can move this up like so. That way it's not completely in the ground. It doesn't matter if it's in the ground. It's not like the ground's going to interact with it, but we're going to go ahead and move our perspective. You have the same perspective panels that you do in the normal thing here, and the normal viewport. Is that what it's called? No. Yeah. I think this is called the viewport. You have the normal controls that you would have here in the blueprint class. So we can go ahead and check from the left and make sure that this is indeed matching up, just like that. So now we can go back into the perspective, and it is perfectly lined up the way that we need it. All right, let's go to the event graph. So we can get rid of all these. We don't need any of these things here. Yeah, we're not going to need any of those. So we're going to go ahead and delete those. We're going to grab our box, right? And we're going to go ahead and we're going to add an event for it. And we're going to add on component begin overlap. All right. This is going to check whether the player is within the box, right? From here, we're going to need the point light as a variable. So we're going to go ahead and drag that off because we're going to be controlling its visibility, right? We want it on or off. And on the collision, we are going to go to a branch, right? We want to check whether this thing is already lit or not lit. So we're going to go to a branch. We're going to bring the point light off, and we're going to check is visible. And it's going to check whether or not it's visible or not. If the point light is visible, then it'll be visible. Actually, I don't know if that's the right one. I think we need to get visibility, and then we can go ahead and attach that. And if it's true, if it is visible, then we want it to turn off, right? So let's go ahead and go, we're gonna grab the point light again. We're gonna get the visibility, so set visibility like so. And we are gonna go ahead and do the same thing again, set visibility like so. And then we are plopping this on here like this. Right, and this one should be unchecked, this one should be checked, compile and save. Now, if you have any problems, it won't compile, and there are a couple settings you can have here. Save on compile, and typically you can change this to have never, on success only, or always. Even if there are errors, it'll compile and it'll save, right? It won't compile, but it will save. I think, personally, you should probably only have it save on success only, because if there are compiler errors, that means you need to change something. And something's wrong, okay? And as you can see, much of this is the same as your level, as a level blueprint. You still have your variables and macros over here, and you could still add functions just like you were just before. You also have construction scripts still, and just the difference is you have this viewport attached to it as well. All your components are in here, and you can use them all as variables, technically, because they are variables to be played around with in your class, in your blueprint class, right? And just like here, you have the details panel that goes over the details of the light or whatever the object is, and you could have these extra helper events that will help you out if you need to use those. Adding variables is pretty simple. You just click the add variable button, or you can get a variable out here, and you could, if you're working with something, you could promote it to variable, and you have all the same variable types that you would normally have. So yeah, let's go test and see if our light actually turns on and off when we get within that that box. So let's do that. We have our content. We're gonna grab our toggle light. We're gonna place it right over next to this wall. That way we can really tell whether this thing's on or off. Yeah, that's a good spot for it. All right, and let's, even better yet, let's turn it to nighttime. Let's go ahead and rotate this lighting. So we're gonna go ahead and take the light. And we're not looking for the toggle light, but we are specifically looking for the light source. Actually, we're looking for the skylight, and we're going to rotate this. We're going to rotate it to be. Oh wait, no, we're looking for the light source. We're going to rotate this to be kind of dark. That way we can really see. And we're going to go ahead and bake the lighting real quick. You have a couple options here for baking, but we're going to just do. We'll do medium for now. It shouldn't be too crazy to build, and this honestly shouldn't take that long. Oh, and if you don't have this, you're going to need to enable the swarm agent to work. There we go. Perfect. As you can see, it got really dark. You can see the stars, too. This is pretty cool. I've never actually turned it to nighttime with the skybox, and well, with Unreal Engine's normal default skybox. And so that's pretty cool. So it looks like our lighting is done. And as you can see, it's nighttime and we can't see, but now we can go ahead and walk over here. And our light should turn off. There we go. We're within the range and it's off now. And we're going to walk back over and it's going to turn on. The reason why I wasn't able to quite see is it wasn't working as intended is because the box is quite small. We can even modify this to work with to detect a control, and then it would basically check if the player is within range and that if the button is pressed, which we can do, We can check for on key down. Right, we can go on key down, if that's even an option in here. Or get key, right? Whatever. There's more to it that we can do, and we can actually control the light with using keyboard control. But regardless, for this tutorial, we don't need to do that. This is just the basics of a blueprint class. It's a thing that, and specifically the actor here is a thing that you can plop in. We can make as many of these as we want. We can have 10 of them, 20 of them in our scene, and it's perfectly replicated every time, and we can have multiple of these objects in our scene, in our level, and yeah, so that's the basics of blueprint classes, at least the actor part. There's more, obviously, that you can cover, and there's an endless slew of these that are here, but I'm sure we'll get around to working with at least some of these in the Unreal Engine Basics tutorial series. Well, if you guys like the video, leave a like, comment if you have anything to say. If you have any questions about blueprint classes or Unreal Engine in general, please do leave a comment. I'll try to get around to answering them as quickly as possible. If you like this kind of content or you're new to game development, hit that subscribe button. That's all I can really say. Just hit the subscribe button if you like the content, or if you're new to game development, or you just enjoy the kind of content that I'm making. And yeah, I think that's just about everything. Oh yeah, go check out the Amazing Ball on Steam and click that nice little wish list button on there. That'd be pretty dope if you could do that. Trying to get my wish list count up. You know, you could wish list it now, and if you decide you don't like the game later, I guess you can not buy it when it releases. That's really up to you. Or if you looks cool and you want to buy it, that would be great when it releases. It's even made in Unreal Engine, so I guess that's a good example of what you could do with Unreal Engine. Unreal Engine's a very powerful engine. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Hope you have a great day, and peace out.